Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be installing a wireless phone charger in my 2020 Ford F-150. This project is very simple, very straightforward. The way that they designed this, it's supposed to fit in with all of your OEM console and equipment and everything like that. All in all, this project should take you no more than an hour, probably 10 to 15 minutes to watch this video, and about 40 or so minutes to complete the project for yourself. I'll run over all the tools you're going to need, and then I'll show you how to install it. Let's get started. As far as tools go, you're only going to need a 10 and a 7mm socket. Obviously, you'll need some sort of socket wrench. I'm going to be using my wireless ratchet that I got off of Amazon. I'll link this product below. Super handy product, really enjoy using it. You may need some sort of plastic trim removal tool. I'm just going to be using my hands, but there are a few parts where you're going to have to try and work a little bit to get your fingers in there. But at the end of the day, all you're doing is popping plastic trim clips out, so nothing heavy duty really required for this. And lastly, you'll need a T20 Torx bit and a 3/8 drill bit. Don't get freaked out when I say drill bit. This process is super simple. Just follow along. I promise it'll all be fine. Let's get started. All right, so to get started, come over to your driver's side. There is a 7mm bolt right back here that you're going to need to take off. It's in this little part right here. Once you do that, just get your fingers behind here, pull back, and this plastic trim cover will pop right off. After you've removed that plastic trim piece out of the way, there's one more piece you got to remove, which is this squared off piece of plastic. You can kind of see it's a little flimsy right here. There's a 10mm bolt behind that, and there's another 10mm bolt right here. You want to make sure that your seats are slid all the way back. You will not be able to access the middle ones if your seats are not slid all the way back. So there's going to be one on the front, one in the middle, and then there will be one more 10mm bolt in the back. To access that, after you've removed these two bolts, slide this seat all the way forward. I'll show you where that last one is real quick. My seat slid all the way forward, come right down to the middle console, right down here in the back. It'll be the exact same setup, guys, on the passenger side. The only difference will be that there is no 7mm bolt near the front to remove on the passenger side. The process over there will start off with remove plastic trim and then 1, 2, 3 10mm bolts. Now that we've got all those bolts removed, come inside the truck. You're going to have to lift up your center console part. What we're going to do is we're going to remove this plastic trim piece right here. The first part you're going to do is come to the back. You're going to get a trim removal tool or a plastic putty knife like what I've got. I have found that the best way to do it is to come into one of these corners right here. So you've got one right here and one right here. Come into the corner using your putty knife or whatever. Feed it in through here in the corner, and once you've got a little bit of leverage, take your other hand to the outside and lift straight up. It should pop right up. And now that you've popped up right here, just kind of work along sideways, pop the other side up. You may have to get in that corner a little bit as well. I'm not even using my own advice over here with the putty knife. Okay, now that you've done that, this back part, pull back away from you to release the clips that are at the front of this plastic bezel. So we've got this back part up a little bit. Pops right out of place. And now you can lift it up and get it out of the way. And with that plastic trim piece removed, there's a T20 right here and right here up at the front. Back both of those guys out. With those out of the way, you got to pop these trim clips. There's 3 on this side and 3 on that other side. Now note, I've got a center console shifter right here. That's why I have 6 trim clips. If you do not have this and you've got a column shifter up here, you will only have 4 trim clips to release on either side. But literally, they just, you can use trim removal tool to pop these guys out, and then this part will lift right up. So I've got it up. I just kind of fished up this, leather boot around this shifter as best as I could. Next step is you're going to come up here. If you do not have a speaker right here, it's so much easier because there's just I think 2 bolts right here that you have to pop up. If not, this guy has to come up I would suggest using your, putty knife or trim removal tool going around this side right here. This top speaker part is actually just held in by 4 little plastic clips. So just fish your tool in here on the side, pop up from the corner, and then the rest will pop up super easily. And here's what that thing looks like removed. Back here you've got 2 7mm bolts that need to come out. Once those do come out, you can kind of just lift up from the back. There's 1 more plastic trim clip on either side, so you got 2 right here. So 2 7mm, pull up, pop these 2 clips off, and this part will come right out. After you've disconnected that, there's this little plug right here that you have to disconnect from the speaker so you can get this thing fully out of the way. There's 2 7mm bolts. I've already got them removed, but there's one right here, and then there's one right here. After you've removed these, you're going to take your hands or a trim removal tool and just gently pop back on here and release this plastic part that covers, like, the AC, the volume control, and the speakers, and all that kind of stuff. Now that we got this bad boy out of the way, we're going to focus on this passenger side AC plastic trim cover. Same thing. It's all plastic trim pieces, guys. Very simple. We're just going to get our tool or our fingers back in here. We're going to pop this bad boy off right here so we can get to the plugs that are behind these bad boys right here. Alright, with this guy removed back here, we've exposed 2 plugs on either side. The one that we're going to focus on is the one for the 12-volt outlet. So come around behind here. There's just a little thing that you need to pinch in on the other side. And when you pinch, it should pull right back. Okay, so go ahead and grab your wiring harness that came with your package. This black part right here is what we're going to plug this guy into that we just unplugged. And then we'll take this plug right here and plug it into this female socket right here. So, guy that we just unplugged right here, black part, this guy right here is going to go back into like this factory piece right here. Now would be a good time to remove the actual like storage part right here, because we are going to have to feed in all of this excess wire into this gap right here before we put this guy back into place right here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the 7mm bolts, 1, 2, and then there's 3, 4 on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and remove this guy now, and then, like I said, we will feed all this excess slack back into right in here. Now that I've got all these screws off, there's one more plastic trim piece that I decided to remove just because it would make everything much easier. These are 7mm bolts. It was sitting right down here. You can see where those 2 holes are. After you remove that piece, this box, this storage box right here, should just slide right out, and then we can go set the wireless charger up in it. Alright, with this guy out, this is the time where you're going to drill your hole. You're going to put it exactly right here. It's pretty important because this is where the wire is going to feed through once you put your charging mat in there. If you want to drop it in there and kind of mock it up and figure out where exactly this cord is going to feed through, you can. On the inside, this is where your hole is going to be, and that's why you're going to drill it right here. Okay, and as nerve-wracking as that was, it works out perfectly. So there's the hole. Here's my feeder wire coming through. And on the other side, you can see here it is. And obviously we're just going to pull this slack through. This guy will rotate just like so. Make sure you've removed your factory rubber mat out of here. You don't want that underneath this guy. You want this to be the only mat in your little cup holder console thing. So there's the hole. You'll feed it through here. I'll show you guys how it sits flat here in just a moment. And here's what it looks like completely installed. This mat is so perfectly fit and measured. Look at that. Look at those lines. Look at those edges. It is a snug fit, but it's honestly perfect. As I said at the beginning, there's no visible wires. Here is what the harness looks like fully pulled through the hole that we drilled right here. There's where we drilled the hole You want to get it exactly there, guys. It's crazy. Like, they definitely put a lot of time and thought into the sizing and the fitment and the measurement, because when this guy is installed, it'll literally just like your normal console thing, except you'll finally have some functionality out of it, because when you put your phone on here, it'll start charging automatically. I'll show you guys how to hook this wiring harness up to what we got inside the truck, and then we're pretty much just putting stuff back together at this point. Okay, so we're back inside the truck now. Here is where we've got our AC vent. Go ahead and take the bottom part of your wiring harness, which is this guy right here. Remember the one that we unplugged and plugged in earlier? You're going to take it and you're going to feed it through this gap right here, and you're going to pull it out at the bottom down here. And that's what you're going to plug that rubber mat part into down here. So start fishing it through here, feeding it down there, and then I'll give you guys a better angle when we're actually installing the charging portion down there. Alright, so as you can see, we've pulled our slack through. Here is the bottom right here. We're going to plug this guy. Here's our box itself. We're going to plug it into this guy. And as we put it back down in there, we're going to plug back in what we unplugged earlier. Our micro USB, I think that's a USB-C. And then this guy right here, and this guy should fit right back down in here where we took him off. Alright, so for the most part, we've got everything plugged back in. Vehicle is on. Without any further ado, let's turn that off. Ooh, baby! Oh yeah, that bad boy is charging. I want to show you guys as well that it works even with the case on it. Boom! So you can leave your case on your phone and it will still charge. There you have it, guys. There's the process. Not too hard. There are some parts here and there that are a little tricky, but everything is pretty straightforward for the most part. Thank you so much to Boost Auto for sending this part out to me. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below and I'll get back to you guys as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, we got some awesome tow mirrors coming in the next video, also from Boost Auto Parts. Stay tuned for that video, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace!